So as I had previously said, I'm not an expert. I'm fairly new with the Instant Pot. My sister gave me one as a gift, and I used to keep it like a giant paperweight downstairs in my basement. And then one day I saw somebody offering generously of their time to teach people who were uneasy about using the Instant Pot how to use it online. It was in a Facebook group called Buy Nothing East Columbia, and somebody showed me that it's really not that hard to use it. And so since then I've been trying new things, and one of the things that I'm going to try for the first time today is to make a cheesecake in the Instant Pot. So I'm probably going to be reading the directions kind of along as we go, and let's cross our fingers and hope this works out okay. This is to make the graham cracker crust. This is the same as you would make any graham cracker crust. You know, they give you the specific amounts too, but it's the same idea. You have graham crackers, a little bit of brown sugar. It's 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, a pinch of salt. I threw that in there already. This is a little bit different than some graham cracker crust. It has 1/4 of a cup of flour in it, and then 1/4 of a cup of melted butter. So we're going to just throw everything in here together and pulse it a little bit to, I probably should have ground the graham crackers up first, but I didn't. I'm gonna take this out. And I buttered this springform pan. This is a small springform pan that's going to fit into the Instant Pot. So I'm going to dump that all into here. Now the directions offer you a tip that if you want to, you can use parchment to line this, but I don't feel like it, so not doing it. Later on, we'll find out whether that was a poor choice. Hopefully not. So just like any other graham cracker crust that you would make, you're going to tamp it down and bring it up the sides. So I'm going to take this measuring cup and tap it down, and then I'm going to push it to the side to bring it up a little bit. Well, I don't know about you, but I think that one of the best parts of a cheesecake is graham cracker crust. I just love it. So I'm kind of pushing it up the sides, I would say about halfway up the side, making sure that you don't get too thin on the bottom. So we have this ready to go in the oven. It's ready to blind bake for 15 minutes at 325 degrees. And while that's in the oven, let me see, timer 15, start. While that's in the oven, we're going to get the filling together. Like I said, I'm learning this as I go. So it says mix the sugar and cornstarch together and the salt. I already put the salt in there. So this is the sugar, which is 2/3 of a cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and 2 pinches. It says sea salt. It says briefly beat cream cheese in a mixing bowl to break it up for 10 seconds with a hand mixer using low speed. So the directions are real clear that you should not use your stand mixer. You should use a hand mixer like this because you don't want to overbeat. So it says 10 seconds. So 100 to 100. Okay, and you know what? It said it was really specific that you had to have these ingredients at room temperature. And I definitely see why, because the cream cheese being at room temperature, it mixed beautifully, whereas other times that I've had recipes where I've had to mix cream cheese in, it's lumpy. So that's good. So they gave good directions. Okay, it says mix in sugar mixture, add half the mixture, and beat until incorporated using low speed for about 20 to 30 seconds, then scrape down the sides and mix the rest in. So, okay, I will put half of this in. This is the cornstarch, sugar, and salt. So we're going to give this about 20 seconds. And it did say don't use an extra high speed. You really don't want to over mix this or it will be, I think they said, too dense. It does seem very nice and light. A lot lighter than I would have expected for cream cheese. Okay, so this is the second half of the sugar, cornstarch, and salt mixture for another 20 seconds. Okay, now I'm going to add the sour cream and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So it's a half a cup of sour cream and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Since this is the first time I'm making this recipe, I'm going to follow it exactly. I like to do that when I first learn to do something. If I make this again, I'm probably going to put a little bit of lemon zest and some lemon juice in it because I like that in cheesecake. But I don't like to tamper too much with the recipe the first time I try it if it's something that I'm not 100% sure of. Then after this, all that's left is the eggs. I would jump to the gun too soon with that spatula. This is remarkably light. I'm kind of surprised. All right, blend in 2 eggs, one at a time. Oops. We're going to do it 2 at a time. And it says again in the directions, do not overmix. So, okay. One of the tips they give you is to boil some water. And instead of using room temperature water, it says to put boiling water, 1 cup of boiling water into your Instapot, and that'll bring it up to temperature faster. And it also says to make a sling. So, and by that, this is what I'm going to sit the springform pan on in there so that later on when I go to lift it out, I don't have to put my fingers into the hot thing. I can just lift the whole thing out. I'm waiting for my water to boil. I'm going to put 1 cup of boiling water in here. Then I'm going to pour the mix into the blind baked springform pan, and we're going to put it in the Instapot. So I'll be back in just a second to do that. So my blind bake just beeped, and I just finished making the filling. So I'm taking this hot pan out here. I have put 1 cup of boiling water in here under saute. We want the water to be boiling. I'm going to fill this, put it in here with the sling because it's hot, right? And then I'm going to turn it on 28 minutes, full pressure, and then I'm going to let it natural release. So I'm going to bring this back here. This should be just about boiling here. I'm going to tap this down to remove any air bubbles. And then I made this sling so that, again, I don't have to burn myself. I'm going to tuck that in. Okay, I'm going to leave it on the steam position. I'm going to come around here, turn it on for 28 minutes. Manual. Timer goes to 28 minutes. And that's going to take 28 minutes, and then we're going to let it naturally release the steam. So I'm thinking that that's going to probably take at least 20-25 minutes to come to release the steam naturally. So I'll come back to this in about an hour. The pressure cooked the cheesecake for 28 minutes, and we've let it naturally release, which means do nothing, for about 20-25 minutes. And I'm gonna open the vent on this. I'm gonna open it. And so there's some condensation on the top of the cheesecake, which it says to blot up. Okay, then I'm going to take this sling that we made. That worked pretty well. And put that there. And it seems pretty firm. No cracks. That's good. Allow cheesecake to cool to room temperature with the lid open on the pressure in the pressure cooker, or place it on a wire rack to cool to room temperature. Then it says to release it from after 10 to 15 minutes, to run a knife around the edge to loosen it. And after it comes to room temperature, we're going to refrigerate it, and for at least 4 to 8 hours, preferably overnight, and then I'll cut it and show you what it looks like. The cheesecake has set overnight in the refrigerator, and it looks lovely. It's a little smaller than a regular cheesecake would be, but looks like a cheesecake. The crust that I blind baked has stayed mostly intact. There was a little section where I tried to loosen the springform pan a little early. There's a little section there that's a little bit messed up, but I'm gonna cut a small piece of this. Ah, looks beautiful. And the sacrifices I have to make, I'm going to try it and let you know if it's any good. It looks beautiful, really nice, firm. Wow. This is really good cheesecake. Totally worth the time and trouble that went into it. Because you're sure that your results are going to be good. And you probably can't see it too well from this camera angle, but the top is not cracked like sometimes cheesecakes get to be. It looks good. It's nice and firm. This I think I had said earlier when I was making it that I didn't tinker with the recipe when I first started it, but next time, and there will be a next time, the next time I make this, I'm going to put a little bit of lemon zest, and that lemon curd that I made in the Instapot would be lovely on this, or some cut up strawberries. There you have Instapot cheesecake. I hope that you'll try it. It's definitely worth it. Really delicious. And on to the next Instapot adventure.